Now, political parties have kicked off their campaigns ahead of local government elections in November. The battle for the country's metros has begun. The Democratic Alliance is hoping to win the city of Joburg through its mayoral candidate Mpho Phalatse. Reporter Khayelihle Khumalo is catching up with the opposition party to find out the election plans for the city. He joins me now live. Kaya, political parties have like 7 weeks remaining to convince South Africans that they deserve their votes. The DA, we all know what happened with the DA during their coalition with the EFF in Johannesburg. So what are they saying about convincing Johannesburg residents that they deserve to come back onto the helm?
Well, that's right, Masego. It is a race against time for the political parties as they are campaigning and trying to entice the voters ahead of the November 1st. So we're just outside the Johannesburg Council chambers where the mayoral candidates for the opposition party, the DA, Dr. Mpho Phalatse, will have an opportunity to outline her vision for the City of Gold. And she joins us now, Masego. So, Doctor, thank you so much indeed for your time. Obviously, you have a lot in your plate to convince the voters to give an opportunity. For you, what you're going to do differently in this City of Gold that is essentially losing its spark?
The voters don't really need to be convinced. Their everyday lived experiences are evidence enough that the current government is failing. It has always failed and it will continue to fail. The residents need change. I've been on the campaign trail for just under 3 weeks now. And we're talking about basic service delivery. We're not even talking about grand plans here. People are asking for basics. They're asking for water, access to water. They're asking for access to continuous, uninterrupted supply of electricity. They're asking for clean streets. They're asking for housing. These are things that should be basic. People should be having these things without having to ask for them. We will be taking the city back to basics, restoring the City of Gold to what we all know it and love it to be. We will be restoring basic service delivery first and foremost, making sure that everyone of the 33,000 employees of the city do what they've been called to do, to serve the residents and give them the life that they deserve.
And just once again, Doctor, how are you going to make sure that you convince the voters to vote for you, especially because there are a lot of challenges with COVID-19, the restrictions that are still in place? So how are you going to make sure that you do things under a very different circumstances we're facing?
I'm a doctor myself, so I'm very aware of what is happening in terms of the pandemic. I'm not new to council. I've been in council for 5 years, uninterrupted. I never left. I've been here since 2016. I became MMC in 2016. I took care of health and social development in the city. I delivered in that 3 years. I delivered a lot considering the limited time and the limited resources that we had. We managed to deliver 10 mobile clinics to our residents. We managed to extend hours of service in 27 of our clinics. We managed to establish 5 substance abuse treatment centers. We opened 6 new clinics. And that's just amongst many other successes that we can talk about. I'm someone who believes in hard work. I am a doctor. I come from a field where we work hard. The stakes are high. It's about saving lives. Well, this is not much different. This is about saving the lives of the people of Johannesburg. They may think they're alive, but they've lost hope. They've lost their dignity. They live in squalor. They live amongst waste and litter. This is an opportunity for them to have their hope restored, their dignity restored, to have their lives restored, so they can dream again. People can't even dream because they're busy worried about whether or not there's water, there's electricity. We need to move away from that. People need their basics taken care of so they can live again, so they can hope again, so they can dream again.
And just before I let you go, Doctor, just briefly, we know in South Africa there's always an issue whether will there be another coalition government. We've seen here in Johannesburg, you were part of that as MMC. Are you amenable to that idea? Should we reach that particular point come the 1st of November?
You know, every party wants to rule in a majority, and that's what we want as well. The reason for that is that when you have majority, you have a more stable government. You have almost a guaranteed 5 years in office where you can do so much more. Our term was interrupted because of a coalition government that was unstable, and we couldn't even finish a term. However, we're not always in control. Of course, we want voters to give us their votes, trust us, so that we can give them the change they want. However, if that does not happen, we will need to look at which other parties share our values, which other parties share our commitment to service, which other parties have no tolerance for corruption and are all about the people and all about uplifting democracy in the city of Johannesburg. Such parties we will be able to then sit down with and negotiate and see if we can work together. We will, however, have to define terms, define parameters very strictly so that we have a strong and solid coalition that can take us through to the end of the 5-year mark.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much indeed for your time. So, Masego, that is Dr. Phalatse. She is the mayoral candidate for the Democratic Alliance here in the city of Johannesburg, really outlining her vision. Among other things, is going to be her primary task today, but also to try and restore the basic services here in the City of Gold. We know that there are some areas that have been battling, for example, to get water, which is a bit shameful because City of Johannesburg really is a place of innovation. That's where a lot of things should happen and then just spread across the country.